check, check. Check, check.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Just waiting to get the Zoom online. We're having a little bit of a technical issue, so bear with us. Thank you, and then we'll begin.
Check 1 2.
What?
Check. Check, check. 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
for being so patient. We're still working on this technical issue, so thank you so much. We will start very soon. Thank you.
Our meeting is now recording, and we can start the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 21st, 2024 Greensboro Planning and Zoning meeting. 25. Oops. My name is Catherine Magid, and I'm chair of the commission. And if the other commissioners would introduce themselves, starting from my right.
Betty Turner,
Warshay Downing.
Keith Peterson.
Sandra O'Connor,
Mary Skeens.
Paul G. Gilmer Sr.
Stu Nichols.
Thank you. Members of the commission are appointed by the City Council and serve without pay. The commission reviews all original zoning and rezoning requests for the City of Greensboro, and each commissioner normally visits each site prior to this meeting. All commissioners are required to vote unless they have a conflict of interest. Please note that this meeting is being conducted in person and online, and it's being recorded and televised on the Greensboro Television Network, GTN, and closed caption is happening for the hearing impaired. When a case is called for that you're interested in, people wishing to speak in person will need to come to the podium. When you are called upon to speak, please state your name and address for the record. Participants attending online will be able to view the meeting and speak by using the raise hand function under the reaction button, and will be called upon to speak in the order in which hands were raised. Please find the raised hand function now under the reaction button. If you're participating online and need help with Zoom during this meeting, please email Luke Carter at lucas.carter@greensboro-nc.gov. The planning staff presents background information and makes a recommendation. The applicant will present a short summary of how he or she communicated with the neighborhood and why the request is reasonable. Any commission member may ask questions once the presenter has completed their presentation. The applicant and those wanting to speak in favor of the request will share a total of 10 minutes to speak. Speakers opposed to the request will share a total of 10 minutes to speak. An applicant and those in favor of the request will share 5 minutes of rebuttal time. Those in opposition to the request will share 5 minutes of rebuttal time. All approved ordinances or denied cases receiving 6 or more favorable votes will constitute a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the planning department and the appeal fee paid within 10 days. All ordinances receiving less than 6 will be subject to a public hearing by the City Council. Cases in which no opposition has been expressed to the planning department and in which commission members do not feel necessitates a discussion will be moved to the top of the agenda and will become the expedited agenda. Staff will provide a shortened presentation for those cases, and the applicants will have 2 minutes to address the commission if they so desire. I'd like to acknowledge that we have no absences, and at this point I would...
Chair Magid, we do have Ms. Glass absent this evening.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Glass is not here yet, but she will be joining us.
She's not here
She's
this
not
evening.
coming.
No. She had a
Okay,
conflict.
I'm sorry. Let's start over. Acknowledgement of absences, Ms. Glass. Can I have a motion to accept
so moved.
and a second? Second. All those in favor, please acknowledge by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the March 2025 minutes.
Stu Nichols, so moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you both. Thank you so much for that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And raising your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Now we'll need to hear some insights from our city attorney.
Good evening, Chair Magid, Assistant City Attorney Brent Ducharme. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Much of the Planning and Zoning Commission's work this evening will relate to the consideration of rezoning applications. I'd like to remind everyone in attendance that when the Commission considers rezoning applications, its determinations are based on the land uses that are allowed under the zoning district put forth in the application and any conditions that have been proposed by the applicant. Land use impacts on public infrastructure are relevant in rezoning matters, and it's important to know that the Commission is not here to determine all details of a development. That process involves staff input and evaluation that goes beyond the forum and scope of the Commission's work here this evening. If a rezoning would generate a certain amount of traffic flow, the Commissioners will have been provided with a summary traffic impact study. Meanwhile, many site-specific development features, such as the means of managing stormwater, are evaluated through the Technical Review Committee rather than here in this forum. Lastly, concerns that are not related to land use are not germane to the Commission's consideration of rezoning applications. For example, generalized concerns about crime rates and questions of who particularly may live at or own or use the subject property are not for the Commission's consideration. If there are questions about matters that are not addressed here this evening, those can be referred to the Planning Department or technical staff as appropriate. Thank you.
I have to say thank you so much to staff. I could really hear you so well. They've fixed your speaker, so thank you so much. Anyhow, no. Mr. Kirkman, do we have any continuances?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Thank you. It's my understanding that we have 4 cases that will be expedited tonight, and they are Z25-04-001, 3603 North Church Street, and RM18, Z25-04-004, 4115 Corbin Road, RM18, which is an annexation and original zoning, Z-25-04-006, 6400 West Market Street, and HI for rezoning. And then we have a type modification 3 at 506 Nicholas Road. I'd like to take a moment to make sure that no one here in the chamber or online has opposition to any of these cases. Okay, thank you so much. If not, we'll place these items on the expedited agenda, and we'll proceed with the expedited. Item Z25-04-001, a rezoning request from R5 Residential Single Family 5 to CDRM 18, Conditional District Residential Multifamily 18, for the properties identified as 3603, 3605, 3607, and 3611 North Church Street, generally described as west of North Church Street and north of Greenbrier Road, 7.25 acres. And Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chair Magid. This is the subject property or the group of subject properties, and they are approximately 7.52 acres and are located west of North Church Street and north of Greenbrier Road. This is a rezoning request from R5, which is residential single family, 5 units per acre is maximum density, to conditional district residential multifamily 18, and 18 would be the maximum units per acre unless conditioned otherwise. North of the request is zoned planned unit development, and that's the property that's to the northwest there. And due north is R5, residential single family 5. East and west of the request are R5, and I'm sorry, that's east and, yes, east of the request is R5, south of the request is RM18, and west of the request is R5. This is the aerial map of the subject property, which contains single-family dwellings. Northwest of the request is a multi-use development. North of the request is single-family dwellings. East of the request is single-family and religious assembly. South of the request includes a convenience store with fuel pump, multifamily dwellings, and undeveloped land. This is the condition that was proposed by the applicant. And in recommending approval of this request, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan currently designates the properties as urban general on the future built form map and residential on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the comprehensive plan's filling in our framework goal to arrange land uses for a more vibrant and livable Greensboro, and the Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDRM 18 zoning district, as conditioned, would permit only residential uses. The proposed uses are compatible with existing uses in the surrounding area, and the density is appropriate given that it is located along a major thoroughfare. Care should be taken with respect to building orientation, building height, building materials, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the lower density residential uses on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions? Seeing none. Oh, you do? Mr.
And
Nichols.
this is more just for clarification. The condition that was imposed here is for residential use. If it had not been CDRM 18, it would have been RM 18, which would have been a residential use. So I don't understand why that condition was added.
Yes, RM 18 allows some non-residential uses such as schools, religious assembly uses, and
Gotcha.
daycares. So in this situation, those uses would not be permitted, only residential uses.
Thank you.
Would the applicant like to make any comments? You have up to 2 minutes to speak. Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, without further objection, we will close the public hearing. I will entertain a motion.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for agenda item number Z2504-001. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the rezoning request for the properties at 3603, 3605, 3607, and 3611 North Church Street from R5 Residential Single Family 5 to CDRM 18 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 18 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. Number one, the request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed CDRM 18 zoning district as conditioned permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on the adjacent properties. Number three, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and the surrounding community, and its approval is in public interest.
Thank you, Mr. Downing. Do I have a second?
Peterson, second.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. We will take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes 8-0. This approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and an appeal fee paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 City Council meeting. All adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. The next case, item PLP 25-16 and Z25-04-004, an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City CDRM 18 conditional district residential multifamily 18 for the property identified as 4125 Corin Road, generally described as west of Corin Road and west of U.S. Highway 29, 10.64 acres. And Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chair Magid. This is the zoning map of the subject property. This is an annexation and original zoning request for 4115 Corbin Road, and it's approximately 10.64 acres. The original zoning request is to be rezoned or originally zoned from County RS 30, which is residential single family, to City CD RM 18. North of the request contains undeveloped land and single-family residential and a manufactured home park. And the zonings to the north are the County RS 30 and County RS 30 MH. And the MH is an overlay district for the manufactured home park. East of the request are zoned County Ag, County RS 30, and County RM 18 MH. And the permitted uses or the uses to the east are undeveloped land, Highway 29, and manufactured home park farther east. South of the request is undeveloped land, zoned both County RS 30 and County HB. And west of the request are undeveloped land and single-family dwellings, all zoned County RS 30. This is the aerial map of the subject property, and I went through the uses just a second ago. The property is currently undeveloped. And this is the site of a rezoning or an original zoning request that we had a few months ago, and that original zoning was then to go to a conditional district commercial medium. That was withdrawn or wasn't approved by, was it withdrawn? Withdrawn before it went to City Council, and this is back before you now for a residential request, not the commercial medium request. These are the conditions that were proposed
Which
by the
was
applicant.
what was discussed at that February 17th.
There was
zoning.
there was some
discussion
discussion
about
regarding what the neighbors would like to see. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question. In our folders, we have an April 11th, 2025 annexation request for PLP 2516, and it says the proposed land use type is self-storage.
That I apologize. That is incorrect. That's probably a copy and paste error from the original. Not much else had changed on that one, just the number and the use. So I apologize.
Do we need a motion to correct the typo?
No, I don't think we need a motion, just to acknowledge that should say residential instead of self-storage facility.
Thank
I
you.
apologize for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor.
And let me just go ahead and acknowledge that a self-storage facility would not be permitted in the CDRM 18 zoning district that they are requesting. In case there's any confusion over what the actual request is, a self-storage facility would not be permitted under this request. These are the conditions that were proposed by the applicant. The first condition is that uses shall be limited to a maximum of 70 residential dwelling units. Maximum building height shall not exceed 25 feet, and a 6-foot opaque fence shall be provided along any property line directly abutting existing residential uses. And I will make our staff's recommendation. In recommending approval of this request, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates this site as urban general on the future built form map and residential on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the comprehensive plan's filling in our framework goal to arrange land uses for a more vibrant and livable Greensboro, and the Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDRM 18 zoning district, as conditioned, would limit uses to a maximum of 70 residential dwelling units. The proposed uses are compatible with the existing uses in the surrounding area, and the proposed density is appropriate given its proximity to U.S. Highway 29. Care should be taken with respect to building orientation, materials, height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the lower density residential uses on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions
Now,
that you have.
Mr. Peterson.
Did we do annexation on this property?
Yes, so the annexation motion from the Planning and Zoning Commission was to recommend approval. It never went to City Council, so we'll have to make that motion again.
And Mr. Downey, did you? Thank you very much
Thank you.
for all that clarity. Let's see, at this point, if the applicant would like to make any comments, you have up to 2 minutes. All right, thank you. Seeing none, without further objection, we will close the public hearing. And I entertain a motion for this new, we need an annexation motion first and then an original zoning.
Madam Chair, I move annexation.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor and Mr. Peterson. Now we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your arm. Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes 8-0. This approval constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 City Council meeting.
And we need the
Madam
original
Chair, I
zoning.
have a motion.
Please read the motion.
The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 4115 Corbin Road from County RS 30 Residential Single Family to City CDRM 18 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 18 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed City CDRM 18 zoning district, as conditioned, permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on the adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Commissioner Gilbert, seconds.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor and Mr. Gilbert. Now we will take a vote on the actual zoning. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your arm.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes 8-0. This zoning request constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025.
Madam Chair, may I just add something? I do appreciate Mr. Riggins for his persistence and correcting a few things. So thank you for bringing this to our attention and bringing this again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Downing. The next item on our agenda is Z25-04-006, a rezoning request from CM Commercial Medium to HI Heavy Industrial to CDHI Conditional District Heavy Industrial for the property identified as 6400 West Market Street, generally described as north of West Market Street and west of Stagecoach Trail, 0.85 acres.
Thank you, Chair Maggie.
Hello.
Thank you. This is the zoning map of showing the subject property is approximately 0.85 acres and is located north of West Market Street and west of Stagecoach Trail. This is a rezoning request from CM Commercial Medium and HI Heavy Industrial to CDHI Conditional District Heavy Industrial. North, south, and west of the request are zoned HI Heavy Industrial. East of the request are zoned CM Commercial Medium and HI Heavy Industrial. This is the aerial map. The subject property is a former sexual-oriented business. North of the request contains a warehouse and distribution facility. East of the request contains a convenience store with fuel pumps, eating and drinking establishment, and trucking and equipment rental facility. South of the request contains manufacturing, warehouse, and distribution facility. West of the request contains a warehouse and distribution facility. This is the condition proposed by the applicant. The staff recommends that the GSO 2040 comprehensive plan designates this site as urban central on the future built form map. The future built form map also shows this property as within the West Market Street reinvestment corridor, a possible workforce transit corridor, and an urban mixed-use corridor. The GSO 2040 comprehensive plan designates this site commercial on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's growing economic competitiveness, goal to increase and preserve the inventory of developer sites compatible with corporate and industrial uses. The request also supports the comprehensive plans filling in our framework strategy to maintain inventory and market key underutilized sites and structures to private industry and developer. The proposed CDHI zoning district, as conditioned, allows uses that are compatible with the existing manufacturing uses adjacent to the subject property. And I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Harrison. Does the Commission have any questions? Okay. Seeing none, would the applicant like to make any comments? You have up to 2 minutes. Okay, thank you very much. Seeing none, without further objection, we will close the public hearing. I will entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Nichols.
The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the rezoning request for the property at 6400 West Market Street from CM Commercial Medium to HI Heavy Industrial to CDHI Conditional District Heavy Industrial to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. 1, the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built form map and future land use map. 2, the proposed CDHI zoning district as conditioned permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on the adjacent properties. And 3, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Can we have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Now we will take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your arm. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 8-0. This approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal in writing is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, City Council meeting. All adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeals. Thank you, Ms. Harrison. The next item on our expedited agenda is, thank you, item PLP 25-17, 506 Nicholas Road, west of Nicholas Road and south of Rowan Way. Consideration of a Type 3 modification, a request to exceed the allowed density of the Upper Randleman Lake watershed, proposing 79.73% of the built-upon area, the BUA, where Land Development Ordinance LDO Section 30-12-3-11 table, and it just went dark on me. Table, I think it's 12-6, even though it says 7. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Johnny Hill with the Water Resources Department. I'll speak to the Type 3 in front of you. Apologize for the attachment that we've got here, but there's a site plan that's showing on your screen. This is for a proposed automotive dealership along Nicholas Avenue and Rowan Way. There are 2 existing dealerships on this site. The total project area consists of 10.36 acres. The area they are looking to develop is 3.61 acres. of which they will treat all the stormwater that's generated from that site, which is 1.34 acres. They'll treat that in an underground stormwater system. As part of this request, since they are exceeding our built-upon area maximum of 70% for Upper Randleman watershed, they are proposing to capture some additional site area and treat that in their system as well. So they're treating an additional 1.12 acres of built-upon area. That will be 79.7% built-upon area, which does exceed, but they are proposing that equal or better performance in order to proceed. We did get a favorable recommendation from our technical review committee back on March 21st. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
So referring to the map here, could you point to the area where the the underground storage container is?
So it's this large area here behind the building. Those are underground cells which store the water, and then it filters through a system as it outlets across the existing dealerships.
Okay. This was a little bit confusing. Does the commission need any more clarity? Was that enough? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hill. We really appreciate you coming to explain that to us in a little bit more details, because we've never had one like this before. So we really appreciate understanding that this is a flow
Correct.
auto
Yes.
area.
Yep.
That's being, now we're using your technical Type 3 modification information, and you're educating us. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. With that said, and we don't have any questions? No questions? Okay, then we will close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion. This is a final action. So we just need a motion explaining that it, for consideration as a Type 3 modification.
Commissioner Keith Peace, and as it pertains to PLP 25-17, Top 3 modification, I recommend approval for 506 Nicholas Road.
Thank you. And I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson and Mr. Downing. Okay, with that said, all those in favor signify, we'll take the vote now. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your arm. Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes 8-0. This approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 City Council meeting. All adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. Thank you so much, Mr. Hill, again. Hello. All right, so let me read this first. And now we are moving to the regular agenda. And the first item on that is item PLP 25-15 and Z 25-04-002, an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City CDRM 12 conditional district residential multifamily 12 for the property identified as 521 Callumdale Road, a portion of 3425 Randleman Road, generally described as south of Callumdale Road and east of Randleman Road and north of Interstate 85, 6.64 acres, and item PLP 25-15 and Z 25-04-003. Actually, both of these will fall under the same annexation. An original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City RM 12 residential multifamily for the property identified as a portion of the Callumdale Road right-of-way, generally described as east of Randleman Road and north of Interstate 85, 0.63 acres. And hello, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Maggin. This is the zoning map showing that the subject properties contain approximately 7.27 acres total, and are located south of Callumdale Road, east of Randleman Road, and north of Interstate 75. The subject properties for the request at Z-25-04-002 are subject to an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30, residential single family, to City CDRM 12, Conditional District Residential Multifamily 12. Item Z-25-04-003 is an annexation and original zoning request for from County RS 30 to City RM 12. North of the request is zoned City RM 18, Residential Multifamily 18, and County RS 30. East of the request is zoned City CDRM 12, County and County Agricultural. South of the request is zoned County Ag. West of the request is zoned City R5, Residential Single Family 5, and County RS 40. This is the aerial map of the area showing the subject property for Z-25-04-002 is currently undeveloped. The subject property for Z-25-04-003 is the portion of Callumdale Road indicated on the map. North of the request contains single and multifamily dwellings. East of the request contains multifamily dwellings currently under development. South of the request contains Interstate 85 right-of-way, and west of the request contains single-family dwellings, common elements, and right-of-way. This image shows the subject properties for Z-25-04-002 as seen from Callumdale Road. And this image shows the subject properties from that request as seen from Randleman Road. This image shows a single-family dwelling located north of the request on Callumdale Road, zoned County RS 30. This image shows multifamily dwellings located north of the request on Callumdale Road, zoned City RM 18. This image shows multifamily dwellings located north of the request on Randleman Road, zoned City CDRM 12. This image shows multifamily dwellings currently under construction located east of the requests on Callumdale Road, zoned City CDRM 12. And this image shows Interstate 85 located south of the request, zoned City R3. This image shows single-family dwellings and road right-of-way located west of the request on Randleman Road, zoned City R5. This view is facing east on Callumdale Road. The subject property for Z-25-04-002 is on the left, and the subject property for Z-25-04-003 is this section of Callumdale Road. And this view is facing west on Callumdale Road. The subject property for the first request is on the right, and the second request is the right-of-way picture. This view is facing north. Pardon me. This view is facing south on Randleman Road. The subject property is here on the left. And this view is facing north on Randleman Road. The subject property is on the right. These are the conditions proposed by the applicant which were advertised with the request. And in recommending approval, staff noted that the GSO 2040 comprehensive plan designates this site as urban general on the future build form map, and the future comprehensive plan's future land use map designates the property as roughly half residential and half commercial. The proposed original zoning request supports both the comprehensive plan's Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices, and the Building Community Connections goal to maintain stable, attractive, and healthy places to live and raise families. And in recommending approval, staff noted that the proposed CDRM 12 zoning district as condition limits permitted uses to single and multifamily dwelling types that reflect the developing character of the area around the subject properties, and that the uses permitted in the proposed zoning district are compatible with existing uses located on adjacent tracts. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. That was excellent. If the applicant would like to come forward, you have up to 10 minutes to speak. Please give us your name and address.
Madam Chair and members of the Commission, my name is Nick Blackwood, 804 Green Valley Road here in Greensboro. I have some materials to. And I believe I'll be fairly brief. I think staff's explanation of the project and their information in their staff report pretty much covered our request. And flipping through the packet that I just handed out, I think we can breeze past the second page, just covering the zoning conditions. We're prohibiting traditional vertical multifamily apartments. This is intended to be a townhouse project. And we've also included a condition requiring no less than 35% brick, stone, or hardy board type material. The next slide, again, just giving you an aerial image of where this property sits adjacent to 85. You've got the existing multifamily developments to the north, multifamily developments under construction to the east, and then just to help orient you a little bit, you've got that large building you see on the right-hand side of your page. That's a Walmart off of South Elm Eugene Street. The next slide, just to highlight some of the context of the existing zoning districts in the area. We've got a good amount of existing multifamily zoning on Callumdale Road, a mix of RM12 and RM18, all vertical multifamily products. So this is going to be a multifamily district, but limited to townhomes. I have an illustrative sketch plan showing you a conceptual layout of the footprints of some of these, of how the townhouses will be configured on the site. And so we're currently showing one point of access off of Callumdale, no access on Randleman Road. And there's an area for some amenities that we're trying to maintain, a playground area, covered picnic shelter with picnic tables. And then you'll see, again, just the single access point onto Callumdale with all of the units funneling onto those interior access drives. The next slide shows an illustrative rendering prepared by Carlos Sanchez. He's our client and architect on this project, and Carlos is here this evening if you have any questions for him about the project. But I think this is going to be a unique product type for the city with the garages on the bottom floor, living space above, something like you might see in a modern development in Raleigh or Charlotte, something that we don't have a lot of here in Greensboro, so a pretty unique product. And the last page is a copy of our notice letter. We sent this letter out to all the property owners on the city's notification list, held a neighborhood meeting. We had one property owner attend as well as her tenant. They actually live south of 85. If you'll flip back with me to our GIS aerial. So the sliver of Randleman Road property that's included in our request, it's actually one parcel with kind of that rectangle that you see directly south of our site across 85. That property was split into two pieces when 85 came through. So for purposes of generating the mailing list, I believe the entire perimeter boundary of that entire parcel was used. So these folks live a good distance south of 85, further down Randleman Road, and they were just curious about what was happening with that southern part of the property that's not actually part of our request. So. Other than that, no concerns. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions? I'd just like clarity. There was an image that we saw of Elmsley Trail Apartments, and that's across the street, and that's an RM18. And then at the end of the street, we saw an image of a property that was in development stage. And that is the RM12, the villa at Elmsley? Okay. And let's see, next to the Elmsley is the Lofts. Correct? That's the other development that we don't see on our map here, but okay, so all around this we have a RM18 that's already built. We have a RM12 next to it that's being built. I just wanted to get clarity of, there was a lot of construction and everything going on there. I just wanted to be clear. And the entrance here is on Callumdale?
On Callumdale, that's correct.
So that will be the in and out manner.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this? Okay. No? All right. So then Oh, you're going to speak in favor? Okay, I thought that you were in opposition. I'm a little confused.
It's okay. I confuse a lot of people. Sometimes I just try to use the best fit to make sure that if I have a question, just in case he used up all his time, that I can still be able to spit. So I'm not against it, right? But I do have a procedural question related to this property and annexation, if I so may. My name is Cheryl McIver, 404 West Mount Castle Drive, Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is a commissioner question or a planning question. I noticed that City Council had this on their consent agenda this past Tuesday, the annexation request. And so I was just a little curious as to why it's on the City Council's consent agenda prior to the commissioner making their recommendations.
Okay, so all questions have to be asked to us.
Okay.
And then would you clarify that for us,
Yeah,
Mr. Kirkman? Thank you.
Right. This can be a little bit confusing. So when property is annexed into the city of Greensboro, state law requires that City Council establish a public hearing date via an action on an agenda. So what was on the consent agenda for council last week was an item to call the public hearing for May 20th for the annexation for this. So that lines up then if the Planning and Zoning Commission makes their recommendation tonight, then everything comes together on May 20th. But there is an extra step that state law requires us to do, and so that's why there was a consent agenda item on there. So it was no action on the council's part related to actually approving anything. All they were doing was setting a public hearing date, which was required by state law.
And is that always the case?
Yes, that is always the
always
case,
the
right?
case.
That we have to do
we
one agenda,
learned
set the
something.
agenda date for the hearing at a future date, and then we try to line everything up so it all matches up.
We all learned something.
Okay, so Chairman, so it can, even though they're not approving anything, which I understand, they can put it on the public hearing prior to the commissioners making their decision.
Correct.
That's
All
what I'm
that's doing
hearing.
is setting
Okay.
a public hearing date.
Okay. All right. The second part, I'd just like to say to your point when you were talking about the map, and I think this has been mentioned previously, that typically what planning and zoning is showing you guys on the map that with the lines, they're not really updated, right? Because on your map, it looked like all empty land, even though he came back and showed you that there were apartments built there. So I think it's important for these cases that you guys get a good visual of the GIS with the properties that are already built. And then thirdly, I'd just like to thank Isaacson and Sheridan, and I apologize that I have you on the last meeting because I did sign up to speak. But I want to thank you for bringing something different. The entrance is not a problem. It's a dead-end road, so it's not an issue. They listen to the community, and they always, when speaking to the developer, always says, hey, this is kind of what the community has already asked for, and they're able to work with the developers up front to kind of ease some of these things that happen when we come before you. So we appreciate the different type housing that will be on that corner. So nothing further. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for bringing that up. And it is a different type of housing. It's townhomes.
The garages are nice.
And everything. So it's different than, yes. So thank you so much. Do we have any opposition now? I think we don't have any opposition. So seeing none, we don't need any rebuttal time unless I don't think we do, because that was a question for planning.
Yeah, no, Chair Magid. I mean, in the absence of any opposition, I don't think there would be a need for a rebuttal period.
Okay, thank you. So without further objection, if the commissioners have no further comments to make, okay, then we will close the public hearing. And I would, if you have any discussion, anything that anyone wants to say, okay, then I will entertain a motion to annex first, and then we'll do the original.
Mary Skeens, regarding PLP 25-15, which is an annexation request for 521 Callumdale Road and a portion of 3425 Randleman Road. I move approval of the annexation.
Commissioner Gilmer seconds.
Thank you, Ms. Skeens and Mr. Gilmer. All right, and now we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please raise your arm and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 8-0, and now we need an original zoning.
All right, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion regarding agenda item number Z25-04002. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the properties at 521, I have no idea, Killamdale Road, and a portion of 3425 Ranneman Road from County RS30 Residential Single Family to City CDRM 12 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 12 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. Number one, the request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map and future land use map. Number two, the proposed city CDRM 12 zoning district as condition permits uses that fits the context of the surrounding area and limits the negative impacts on the adjacent properties. Number three, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
And I need a second.
Commissioner Gilmer seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Downing and Mr. Gilmer. Now we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your arm. Aye. All those opposed? That passes 8-0. And these both, the annexation and the original zoning, constitute a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 City Council meeting. Thank you, Mr.
We also
Nelson.
have a motion for the original zoning for the right-of-way that needs to happen.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't do that. Okay, so let's read that. Okay. We need to do the Z25-04-003, the right-of-way. So
That's what he just did.
Commissioner Turner, I would make that motion, please, for Z25-04-003. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the original zoning request for a portion of Callamdale Road right-of-way from County RS 30 Residential Single Family to City RM 12 Residential Multifamily 12 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. One, the request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map and future land use map. Two, the proposed City RM 12 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on the adjacent properties. Three, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and the approval is in the public interest.
thank you, and I need a second.
Well, I think before the motion is seconded, we need to hear from staff. Do we not? We have.
I mean, so this is under state law when you have non-taxable property, basically public property that's in between the corporate limits of the city and a petitioned annexation, the right-of-way in this case would come in automatically. So when we made the motion earlier, it was for all of those items.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So it was confusing.
Yes,
I
got it.
apologize.
All right. Then on that basis, I
First
second.
one was, for the actual land use, and this is for the right-of-way. So I apologize. So with that said,
So Mr. Nichols was a second. Is that what I heard?
did I get a
Yes, I second.
Perfect. So thank you, Ms. Turner and Mr. Nichols. And without further ado, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes 8-0. And this approval constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 City Council meeting. We sometimes get a little hung up when we have two of them together, and we don't have to do two annexations because it's the same annexation. Correct. Okay. Thank you. That concludes the regular agenda. Items from planning?
We don't have anything for the commission this evening.
Okay.
I actually have an item,
Oh,
if I may. I'm sorry. On April 8th, this has been a long month, but on April 8th in Raleigh, there was a statewide conference on the state of real estate, which was addressed in person by Governor Josh Stein, also from representatives from both sides of the aisle, from the North Carolina Senate, North Carolina House, a researcher by the name of Patrick Bowen, who talked about statewide housing supply gap. But of all the speakers, the final was the best, and that was our own Sue Schwartz, who spoke about putting planning in the spotlight as strategic alignment for the housing supply. So I just wanted to commend and thank her for representing us so well and for her comments. And her last remark after she gave her speech, which was well received, was that housing is where jobs go to sleep at night. So thank you, Sue Schwartz.
That was really good. Thank you so much. We'll close the public hearing now. And I'd just like to ask, do we have, what's our intention for next month?
We are looking, right now, I think 8 cases total.
8 cases.
8 cases. Okay. And wishing you a happy birthday, Mr. Kirkman.
And to you as well, Chair Magid. Yes.
Thank you. We share a birthday. So thank you so much. So we're now adjourned.
Okay.